feet, plant them about a generous shoulder width apart. They can be shoulder width, they can be a little bit wider. You're going to turn and look over the shoulder in each direction. And as you do so, you're going to let your arms just swing up. Not trying to lift them up and not trying to hold them down. Just let them move and swing. Whatever intention and physics does to them. And at first, just let the arms land however they want to land against your body. As you're turning, you're getting some rotation to the spine, turning your neck, maybe even turning your eyeballs in sockets so you can try to look around behind you to the other side as you just get things moving there. And then you keep the same turn going, but a little more control to your hands. You're going to bring the center point of the palm of your hand over the navel in front of you. Pat your belly. Pat your rock hard abs, as the case may be. Whatever's there, you're bringing the lao gōng point. That's the center point of the palm of the hand. Tap your navel. And in the front, that's the lao gōng point, the navel. In the back, you're bringing the back center point of the back of your hand. Tap the point of your spine directly opposite the navel. So that point in the back of the hand, you might think of that as the rear lao gōng point. And you bring that very gently to tap the point of your spine directly opposite the navel. That's the Mingmen, or the gate of life. You're just turning, tapping, like you're waking up your lower abdomen and lower back. And then a little bit higher up and further across the body. Same turning now, but now in each turn, you bring your hand to kind of just tap the lower rib cage across the body. And in the back, you're reaching across the body and tapping with the back of the hand across the body, roughly the area of the kidneys. Doesn't have to be too precise, doesn't have to be exact. Anywhere in the mid to lower back works just fine. As you tap your back, imagine that you're waking up your own kidneys. You're bringing the chi or the energy of the kidneys to begin to flow, maybe balance itself out if need be. The chi of kidneys resonates with, or maybe at some level, it's the same thing as the chi or the energy of water, at least according to the metaphysical story we're telling here and playing with. So as you tap your lower back or tap your mid back, wake up the kidneys, imagine you're inviting the water element, the water energy, the symbolism, duality of water to begin to balance and flow and move in your body. You might visualize a deep blue color. Be open to the possibility of a resonance between your body and the direction north. The kidneys are considered the yin organ of water. Corresponding yang organ of water is your bladder. So you might invite your bladder to wake up. Makes me a little careful there. You don't want to wake it up too much. Just enough. And here, as you tap your back, imagine you're releasing from your kidneys, from your bladder, and from the whole mind and body, any fear that isn't serving, letting go of fear. And as you reach your left hand, your left hand across to your right lower rib cage in the front, imagine you're waking up your liver. Letting the liver chi to move and flow, and the liver is associated with the chi of wood. So you might imagine that you're inviting the wood element, or the qualities of trees and grass and plants and bushes and all that kind of stuff to begin to move, flow in the body. The liver here is the yin organ of wood, your yang organ of wood, the gallbladder. So that you're waking up the gallbladder too. Open up to the possibility of a connection between your body and the direction east. Here it said that the wood element and the chi of the liver When it gets stuck out of balance, it might manifest as anger. So if that's helpful. You can imagine that you're just inviting any anger to be held in the liver to be released, just letting it go. Like Elsa. Or, just feels better to turn and slap yourself on the ribcage and let all the instructions about visualization, intention, just waft over you, and that's fine too. It's your practice. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. Just be safe. And now, as your right hand taps your left lower ribcage, imagine you're waking up your spleen. Both the spleen and the stomach. The spleen is the yin organ here, your stomach's the yang. And these organs are said to be connected with the chi of earth, both as in the big thing we're standing on, and as in like rock and soil and dirt, mountains, maybe cement and brick. In any case, invite the qualities, and the symbolism, and the chi, and the energy of earth to begin to balance itself out and move if it wants to move. There's like a yellow, your visual field, being open to a connection between your body and the center of things. And here you're just letting go of any worry or anxiety or sense of being ungrounded, off center. All right. Gonna get funky. So it goes, same turning now, but now with a loose fist, you're gonna tap kind of tender area in front of each shoulder. Being mindful of any injury or sensitivity you're working with, modifying it as need be. But you're turning and tapping the space in front of each shoulder. In the back, you'll let the hands swing back and still tap around the area of the kidneys, either with an open hand in the back, or if we can keep things simple, just keeping a closed fist. Focus here, though, is on the space in front of each shoulder. And on each side, there are a couple of lung acupuncture points that we're playing with. Tap those lung points. Imagine you're waking up your lungs, inviting the chi of the lungs to balance itself out. Chi of the lungs is or is associated with the chi of metal. Qualities of silver and gold, and steel, and iron. It's various alloys you can throw in there too. Right, the qualities of metal to begin to balance and flow in the body. Here you're visualizing white with shiny glint of metal. You're opening up to a resonance in your body in the direction west. Here from your lungs and also from your large intestine. Just imagine you releasing any sadness, any grief, letting go of sadness. All right. A few more turns like this with the lungs. And then let the turning stop and just tap now. Up and down the sternum. You could turn and tap here, but here in this part of the body, just be a little more gentle. And we'll do it here tonight. Sending vibrations to the sternum, to a thymus gland that's under there, but in particular from the intention to wake up your own heart. Heart said to be connected with the chi of fire. So you might visualize red. Be open to a resonance between your body and your heart in particular in the direction south. So here, the small intestine is the yang organ of fire. So you can wake that thing up too. And a lot of things might feel like they want to come up here. If something comes up and you want to let it go, just let it go. But in particular, form the intention to invite any impatience or any of the emotional qualities of arrogance that might arise in the body. Just invite them to be released. And then let that come to a still point, and you're going to brush down a few times, clearing things out. And still do some warm-ups. So bring your feet together. You begin to circle the hips, just warming up the hips. As you're doing this, imagine perhaps that you're standing in a clear glass cylinder and that you're Tips of the edge of the knife, scraping the last bit of peanut butter out of the jar. And when you're next in the back, reverse direction, circle the other way. Notice if one direction of turning is smoother and easier than the other, or if they're about the same. And then coming down to your knees, and as we're going to do this here, we're just going to do small circles of the knees, no peanut butter jar, we're just circling the knees together. If there's any pain here, especially, come right up out of it. Just be careful, especially with the knees. And then circle the other way. Release. Okay. So today, what I want to do is I want to go through parts of the 12-move Hunyuan Qigong. I think we did that last week, but we'll pick some different moves this week. We're going to go through the 12-move Hunyuan Qigong, or the Primordial Qigong. That's what it is in English. And then we'll save a little bit of time at the end, and we're going to do a little bit of standing meditation from Yiquan. So here we go. Without further ado, find a spot to take your stand. Your feet are going to be angled out about 45 degrees. You can't really see, I think, my feet fully, but just trust me. So my heels are about a generous shoulder width apart. The feet are angled out about 45 degrees. You're going to sink the hips a little bit, bending the knees, hands in front of the body. Bring your hands a little bit to your right. I'm going to mirror you. And you're going to circle the hands, 3 big circles all the way around. All the way around. And then at the end of your third circle, you come up a little bit to your left, and you're going to crank it the other way. And just let the hands flow. It doesn't have to be, there's no tension here. You're just stirring, big stirring space in front of you. At the end of the third time, give or take, your hands are going to face forward. Your hands are going to circle up. The palms are going to face you without touching, and you're going to bring them down the front of the body. Imagine you can reach inside your body and just send down into the earth anything that needs to be released. So you're circling the hands around. You're not quite touching, but the symbolism or the intention is like you're just sending it down into the earth, whatever needs to be released. And in a lot of Qigong forms, we purposely bring the breath into phase with the movement. But here, as we do the 12-move Hunyuan, I'm not going to do all 12 moves today, but as we do the moves from the 12-move Hunyuan form today, just let the rhythm of your breath be natural. That is, just let that rhythm be whatever it wants to be. Don't try to bring the breath into phase with the movements. So go around one more time, all the way around. And then we'll call that the first move. We're going to close it with a little punctuation mark, which looks sort of similar, but it's importantly different. The hands are going to come up, but this time the palms are aiming down. And it's like you're just imagining you're pushing or guiding sheer energy down to the height of your navel. And you're going to briefly pause and turn your hands toward the navel. The Lao Gong point at the center of each palm is aimed at your navel. And we're going to do this 3 times. It's called lowering the chi, down to the height of the navel. And on the 3rd time, place the hands over the navel. For this form, women are invited to place the left or the yin hand against the body, and then cover it with the right hand. So women have the left hand against the body, covered with the right hand. So the right hand is out for women. For men, it's the right hand touching the body, covered with the left. It's a little bit unusual for Qigong forms to do it that way, but that's the invitation here. And if you thumb your nose at sex or gender norms, or you just do it the other way, or it feels better the other way, or you forget, no harm will come to you. Just have your hands over the navel. Allow one point at the center of each palm lined up one over the other. Close the eyes. Always the option to keep the eyes open if you prefer. Just take a moment. Just observe. Down. So in this form, on Hunyuan Qigong, we work with 3 dantian, or 3 energy centers. The upper dantian is behind the yin tang point. That is the point between the eyebrows, roughly the 3rd eye. It's behind there in the head. The upper dantian. Your middle dantian is at the height of your navel, between the navel and the mingmen. And then the lower dantian is at your perineum, basically the pelvic floor, or what's called the meeting point of yin, the Hui yin acupuncture point. So bottom, middle, top, and we're going to ritually gather chi to the 3 dantian. It goes like this. So the hands are going to come out to the side. You're going to hinge forward at the waist, the long lower back, as you reach out in front. And you can stand back up as you pull the hands back, like you're guiding energy to the space between the eyebrows, but don't quite touch. That would be really no harm would come to you. It just would be a little bit gauche. It's not how we do it. Sort of guiding it back without quite touching. And you imagine there's excess chi. And you're going to lower that down to the height of the navel, turn the palms of the navel, you're going to store it there. So you're going to come out, gather back to the upper dantian, lower down and store the excess of the navel. So reach out, back, lower the excess. It's called gathering chi to the upper dantian. And it can help to bend the knees a little bit here, not a deep squat or anything, but to bend the knees to help take pressure off the hamstrings and to use other muscles of the legs in order to help lift the body up. And if the lifting is not appropriate, the hinging and lifting the body up isn't appropriate, then you can modify it. But you're gathering chi to the upper dantian. We'll do one more like this. Gather. Now we're going to gather chi to the middle dantian. Same kind of move, but you're just coming back to the navel. And as you do it, you don't need to store the excess anywhere because your navel can handle it. Just put it all in. And again, throughout this whole form, just let the rhythm of your breath be what it wants to be. Don't try to bring it into phase with the movements of the body. And we're kind of doing the movements at a kind of pace here. We could do it slower. We could do it quicker, but we're doing it at a pace that might be a little bit fast for the breath in many cases. And let the eyes kind of follow one of your hands as it circles around, or maybe let it switch either every time or every now and then. But don't let the eyes, or don't force the eyes to be locked right on the center line. You're gathering chi now to the middle dantian. And it might feel like you're sweeping the arms and gathering back, or maybe it feels this time just like you're waving your hands like some sort of weirdo, and that's okay. Just as one of my teachers used to say, just make the shape, make the shapes. All right, now you gather to the lower dantian, the pelvic floor. This time you come up to start with. You sink just a little bit, not a deep squat though. And then you bring the hands up as you stand up, like you're gathering between the legs, but you discreetly bring your hands up in front. Come up to about the height of your navel, and you circle around what's called the belt channel. And then I'll show you what it looks like in the back. The fingertips point to the Mingmen. That's the point of the spine directly opposite the navel. Don't quite touch, just kind of bring in like you're gathering chi there. And then you imagine there's excess chi, you're going to lift it up and just place it in the navel. So you gather up, around the belt channel of the Mingmen, place the excess. Gather up, around the belt channel, place the excess. Up, around the belt channel, excess. Gathering chi to the lower dantian. So these three energy centers for here in this form, the upper one's at the forehead, the height of the space between the eyebrows, the middle one's at your navel, the lower one's at the pelvic floor. That's often how it's done in Chen style Taiji. Those locations for the dantian, if it's that style of Chen Taiji or Tai Chi that talks about dantian, these cinnabar fields or elixir fields, these energy centers. But often in other practices or in other traditions or in other forms that we sometimes do, the lower dantian is at the height of the navel, maybe a little bit below it. And the middle dantian, in those cases, would typically be at the heart. And the upper dantian is where it is. But here for us, the lower dantian is down at the meeting point of view in between the legs. All right, we'll do one more. Coming up. Up. The left hand touching the body, then have the right hand touching the body. Cover with the other hand, the logon points lined up over the navel. Whichever hand is in, whichever hand is out, it's fine. Close the eyes, keep them half open with a downward glance, and just pause and notice what there is to notice. Let's go to opening and closing the 3 dantians. We'll focus on the dantian. So bring the hands up, about the height of the upper dantian, about the height of your yin tongue point between the eyebrows. And all you're going to do is going to open and close. Open, close. Open and close. It's called opening and closing the upper dantian. And your hands are out in front of the body, and you might just sort of imagine that you can sense something happening in the space between the Lao Gong points of the hands. Don't try to create that by tensing up the muscles or anything, just be open to it. But even though the hands are moving and like this is the space, out in front of the body a bit, that the hands are articulating or mapping out, somehow at the same time, it's like the space inside the head behind the eyebrows. Just imagine opening there, closing. And again, the eyes are not locked right in center. Just kind of follow one of the hands or alternate every now and then or every time. And the hands come together, you're going to bring it down to the height of the navel. You're going to do the same deal. Now it's opening and closing the middle dantian, height of the navel. There can be a little bit of rise and fall of the rest of the body, maybe bending the knees a little bit as the hands come toward each other, and then straightening the legs a little more as the hands open. Not a deep squat or anything, just a little bit of movement. If that feels good, you're opening and closing things. And you're going to lower the hands down to the height of the perineum. You're going to reach now, like out to the side, maybe a little bit more up and down here. But now you imagine you're opening and closing the space at the pelvic floor, your perineum, at the Hunyuan acupuncture point, the meeting point of yin. Open and closing the lower dantian. One more. So this form, your left side is yin, your right side is yang. Right side is the yang energy of the sun and the sky and movement, the high center of gravity and activity, and perhaps the masculine or the male. Your left side is the yin, the energy of power of stillness, the earth, lower center of gravity, sweep the leg, of quiet power, coolness, and darkness. Apologies for the perhaps female. However you're sexed or gendered, and whatever your personality or body is like, the idea is we all got yin and yang in us in layers. And so often, if there's a invitation to do things differently based on sex or gender, women will be invited to have the yin hand outward, since women are said to, at least at some level on the surface, be yinish in how they present. And men will be invited to have the yang hand outward. But here in this form, it's a little bit unusual. Women are invited to place the left or the yin hand inward. And men are invited to place the right or the yang hand inward. Sort of drawing attention back inward and toward some kind of primordial state of affairs in both space and time. Let's jump to a double leg ascending and descending. So in the vision of the body here, energy is said to go down the outside / back of the legs, up the inside / front. So for this one, have the feet definitely a generous shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, not like a shoulder width and a half. That's probably too much, but a little bit wide. So you're going to have your hands hovering on the inside of your thighs, and imagine you're somehow drawing or guiding energy from the earth up the inside of the legs, bring it up to the height of the navel, not quite touching the body, just hovering. And the hands go down the outside of both legs. Imagine you're projecting it around the feet, up the inside again, down the outside, up the inside, down the outside, up the inside, down the outside. Just gathering it up the inside, and that's, and you can do it just like this. There's nothing lacking, but if you want to work the muscles a little bit differently, then as an option, keeping the shoulders upright as you squat, as you go down, squat the butt back and kind of trace, kind of hovering along the body. So down the outside, around the feet, up the inside to the height of the navel. Down the outside, around the feet, up the inside. If you're squatting, just protect your knees. That can be one way to do that, is to make sure the butt goes back so the knees aren't going in front of the big toes. And you don't have to go down as low as I'm going. You can go down just a little bit. And there's nothing lacking by just kind of projecting without doing the squat, right? That works too. Just focus on imagining the energy is going down the outside, up the inside. Down the outside, up the inside. 3 more. Down the outside, run legs up the inside. Let's do 1. Two, 3 times. Let's go, we'll do opening, closing, heaven and earth. We're going to jump toward the end of the form, and then we're going to transition into doing some standing meditation. So I don't know how many moves we're done here, maybe 6 by the end, but this is from a set called the 12-move Hunyuan Qigong that was taught by Master Feng Zhiqiang, that I learned primarily from one of my main Qigong teachers, Ken Cohen, where you can do parts of this form, it's okay. For this one, hands in front of the body, not touching. It doesn't matter for us which hand's out. You're going to reach up, you're going to open the hands and imagine that you're somehow opening up the sky above. And you're going to circle down and imagine you're closing or gathering the earth down below. So you're opening the yang energy of sky and gathering or closing in the yin energy of earth. So you're opening sky or heaven, closing earth. That's all it is. And you can do it just like this, like just circling with intention. Or if you're like, hey, I haven't had enough squatting in my day, then as an option, as you come down, you can squat the butt back and make it big circles, opening the sky, closing the earth, opening the sky, closing earth, open heaven, close earth, open yang, close yin. 3 more like this. Open and gather. Open. Gather. We come all the way and open. Yeah, you're going to come back to the navel, and then we're going to reverse it. So now you're going down, and you're opening the earth and gathering in and balancing, closing the heavens. So open yang, so open yin below. Gather and close yang above. So open earth, close heaven. And as before, if you want, you can do the big circles by squatting your butt back. So this is opening earth, closing heaven. Two more. And then coming up. Lower the cheek 3 times. 1, 2. Very briefly, turn the log points to the navel each time. 3. Women place the yin hand against the body, cover with the yang. Women have the left hand in. Men have the yang hand touch the body, cover with the yin for this. Men have the right hand. Log points lined up over the navel. Release. All right, so now we're just going to gather chi from the sides to kind of close off this form. So a little bit wider than shoulder apart, you're going to shift that way. Take this hand. What is this? Remember me, this is your right hand. You're going to swing it around as you shift the weight that way. Then you're going to gather back, shifting your hips back like you're gathering to the navel. Out, around, and back. Like you're just sweeping around and gathering up all of what you created, whether it's beautiful, whether it's detritus of this or that, but guess what? You can sweep it all back in. So sweeping around, gathering into the navel. Coming the portal, as it were, where all of these things come back to the primordial, chaotic Hunyuan state. And we'll do, after this one more each side, round and back. And you're going to lower the chi 3 times. So we close out the Hunyuan Qigong portion of the practice today. 2, 3, all the way down. Just pausing here for a moment at the end of that. Log points lined up over the navel, eyes are closed or gently open, and just take a moment and observe whatever's going on inside the body. Whatever seems to be going on at the surface of your body. And anything going on inside. All right. So that was portions of Hunyuan Qigong. A practice that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people take to be a pretty fundamental Qigong practice is standing meditation, or literally standing like a post. In Chinese, it's Zhan Zhuang. It's literally post standing, or standing like a post, like a fence post. Lots of ways of doing it. I'm going to guide you through one of them, which is from a style called Yiquan, Zhan Zhuang, or Yiquan standing meditations. It's a martial art called Yiquan, or mind boxing, or intention boxing. So for this, your feet are going to be about hip width apart. So it doesn't, you can make it really precise, but for us, it doesn't have to be too precise, but about 1 foot distance between your heels. And feet are parallel. And then just imagine that all of the energy and all of the weight of your body kind of sinks down through the feet. And bend the knees a little bit. And so you're going to sit back like there's a low wall kind of right behind you. And you're not doing a deep squat, but you're sitting back just a little bit like you're leaning your butt up against the wall. And then imagine that your pelvis is like a bowl with the top of the bowl being the height of the pelvis. And it's filled with water. And just holding this low position, tilt the pelvis forward. I'll show you the hands tilted back, right? So tilt it forward, imagine you're pouring water out the front, and then drop your tailbone, tilt it back. And then just do that a few times until it comes to be what feels like for you a level pelvis. As if the pelvis were a bowl filled with water, it wouldn't spill out the front or back. So the feet are parallel, the knees are slightly bent, the butt is back, the pelvis is level. You're going to bring your arms up like you're embracing a tree, hugging a tree, a big old tree trunk. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but your middle fingers are basically aiming at each other, just so I can keep track of time. Middle fingers are basically aiming at each other. The tops of the wrists are maybe about the height of the shoulders. The camera angle here might be a little bit off. My body might be a little bit off in how I'm holding it, but you don't want the arms up high, like in the face. You could do that, but that's not what we're doing here. Don't want them down low for this, but the middle fingers about the height of the center of the sternum. Imagine a thin string or filament is pulling up on the crown point of your head. relax the shoulders down. If they're up high, that's going to be a hard road to travel. Just relax the shoulders down. The elbows are a little bit lower than the shoulders, so they're not up high out to the side, but a little bit lower than the shoulders, but they're not collapsed down. There's space in the armpits, and I'll show you from the side. It's rounded all the way out. So you're not stretching the arms out long, and you're not pulling it in, but there's a big old circle here. You're just embracing it. And then what we do is we call it activating the fingers. You just kind of stretch the fingers and the thumbs out from the hands like you're reaching to hold a small rubber ball. The rest of the muscles of the body are relaxed. And then one final nuance for this right here, so to adjust my posture, tilt the palms up like slightly so that the center point of each palm is aiming at the space between the eyebrows. And your eyes are open, gazing toward whatever is on the horizon for you. And whatever that is, just have a wide, expansive gaze, like as if out into the distance. Breathing through the nose, if you can do that comfortably, the tongue up to the roof of the mouth. Breathing in as the abdomen expands, breathe out as it releases. And we're just going to hold this for a minute or so now. Trying to invite any tightness or tension in the body just to be released down as if it can go through the feet into the earth. Imagine that all the weight of your body can cascade down. Your fingers are active, but all the other muscles in the body are trying to use no more work, no more effort than is necessary to hold the body up. Expansive gaze toward the horizon. You might notice that even a moment, standing meditation, it can bring up agitation. It could bring up an urge to move or to scratch at an itch or something. And if something comes up, you're welcome to adjust or to move, but you might try playing with it first and seeing if you can soften under wherever the urge is that's arising. If you do adjust or move, just notice if that solves the issue, whether maybe it intensifies the urge or brings up another urge or moves the urge somewhere else. Hold it a few more breaths. And then for now, I'm just going to release the hands down, trying to hold on to whatever stillness there might have been there. Just release the hands down. And then, especially if you've been doing standing meditation longer, but even if we're doing it just like that, like a minute or two, one way to come out of it, I'll show you, is just, you don't actually turn around, but you just come out of it, you bring the hands behind your body, the elbow points lined up over the sacrum. Doesn't matter here which hand is in, which hand is out, but you just put the hands over the sacrum. You begin by shifting the weight forward and back, as if using the mass of your body, just the weight of your body, mass, the gravity pulling it down, just to massage the bottoms of the feet, from the front of the feet to the back of the feet, to the back of the feet to the front, a few times. Then you go side to side, doesn't matter which way you start, maybe right to left, just shifting the weight, massaging the feet left to right, and then back from right to left. Then you can begin to spiral over the feet. Doesn't matter which way you start, you'll go both ways. Spiraling, beginning to come out, especially if you've been standing for 5 minutes or 8 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever. It'd be really nice to come out like this, like in stages, and then shift, circle the other way. But even just for a minute or two, it's nice to come out this way. Shake things out, look around, see what things look like. You can bring it to a close and go about your day and pretend that nothing happened. Thanks.